I'm very pleased to be here with all of you, and I prepared a short presentation. I realize that I only have 12 minutes, so I will be quick. And if you have any questions, please do ask in between. So I would like to focus on life sciences transactions and regulatory aspects, as I'm a regulatory lawyer. Focusing on Middle East and North Africa in investors. So I really hope that this is also a little bit of interest for you, because I don't think that many of you are life sciences lawyers. So well, I hope it's interesting as well. Oh, yeah. So this is me. My background is somewhat atypical because I'm not only a lawyer, but also a pharmacist by training. I also have a PhD in clinical pharmacology, which I partly did in Indonesia. I'm also an ex-inspector for healthcare with the Inspectorate for Healthcare. And in that role, I also visited the EMA, at that time still in London, regularly. So I'm a regulatory lawyer in life sciences, and later on I will more really explain what that is exactly. So we're based in Amsterdam. Yeah, okay. So what we do is we focus on solving legal and compliance problems of, well, mainly pharma and biotech companies globally, and usually there, of course, is a link with the Netherlands. So very often it's a problem with the regulators, with the inspectorate, with the minister, but also we work for life sciences investors and also global law firms that lack life sciences regulatory expertise, and then they hire me. I don't know why, but it's a little bit difficult. So yeah, and then what we do is mainly advisory litigation. And in this case, I would really like to focus on transactions. So really focusing again on transactions, and maybe also explaining a little bit what regulatory is. So in case we're talking about pharma and biotech, so very often we're talking about medicinal products. And of course, before medicinal products can be marketed, they have to have a marketing authorization. And you also have to be sure what the regulatory status is exactly of your product. And that is also already, and it seems very simple, but even in investments, very often in the very early stage, it's not yet clear to the investors what exactly is the regulatory status of the product or service they're going to invest in. And it can be, it can not lead to any problems, but sometimes, of course, you need to know what the status is, so you can predict what the regulatory strategy is that you have to follow, and also that you know what kind of studies you have to do before you can then submit your dossier to the regulators, let's say the EMA, and exactly know what you have to do before you can do that. So you have to be, at the outset, you have to know what the regulatory status of your product or service is. So what we do, we assist in transactions, and then we prevent issues such as the Philips Dreamstation, and that's a case that I would like to discuss shortly later on. And if deemed relevant, and I think that this is a part that we will have more issues with in the future. So vigilance is actually the safety. So currently we've had for over the years, we've had quite simple medicinal products. They were all chemical, but in the future we will have more and more complex medicinal products. Let's say the gene therapies, the somatic cell therapies, and but also medicinal products that are much more complex. And there are also materials that will stay in the body for quite a long time. And we've already seen quite some issues with this. I don't know if you're familiar with the metal on metal hip prosthesis, but I think we will see much more of those problems. And I think the problems will also be bigger because we're at the verge of what we call, or what McKinsey actually called, the BIOREVOLUTION. So really the convergence of technology and biology. So the products, the medicinal products, the therapies, the treatments will be more complex. And therefore, I think we should really scrutinize also the biomaterials that are being used, because there are biological cascades at stake. So that's why I think that we should, in the future, look more and more also at the vigilance. And the outcome of such a DD can also go to price or valuation, of course, if you already see that, let's say a startup company is not ready or is not doing the right things to go ahead on clinical trials, then you can say, well, I think there's more investment needed. But we can also give advice on alternative routes to market, making use of what I call the regulatory toolbox. So what we can also do is draft regulatory milestones to be connected to the investment milestones. Let's say, finishing a clinical trial, for instance. But we also have a cross-sectional perspective on local healthcare, reimbursement systems. And we also, as regulatory lawyers, we are aware of the legal sentiments with the legislature within the Ministry of Health. For instance, if you're going to do something with medicinal cannabis in the Netherlands, you would think that would be not any issue at all, but the opposite is true currently. In-depth knowledge of working practice of the regulatory bodies, because I've worked there myself with the inspectors and the EMA. And also in the explorative phase, we can offer what we call an ex-ante transactional regulatory assessment. So let's sort of pre-scan what you expect to come across. So the due diligence we would like to make a little bit more, very often it's very defensive, and we think it should be more of a central element of formulating an investment strategy. I'm going to go a little bit faster because I see now we work with global law firms, as I said, that often do not have the regulatory expertise. What we think for 2023 as to deals in life sciences, well, there's an indicator that there were two mega deals, the Amgen Horizon and the Abimed by J&J. Those were quite big deals. We think that the life sciences industry has deep reserves of firepower, but there are also growth gaps because we expect 2025 a biopharma patent cliff. As I already mentioned, the ongoing innovation renaissance or the biorevolutions, there are high quality assets in the market, the cell and gene therapy, mRNA-based therapies. At the same time, we see a valuation drop, which creates a buyer's market. And smaller life sciences companies are probably going to have reduced access to public markets because there are less IPOs and hardly any specs anymore. So that need for financing will drive them towards M&A. What we also see in the EU is that there seems to be a development that PE, actually private equity, shifting towards more early stage companies, also by buying VCs, which I think is interesting. So this is the case that I would like to tell you about quickly. So talking about the Philips Dreamstation, that's an apnea apparatus. So people need to use it when they're sleeping because their respiration stops. In 2007, Philips acquired this company, Connected Care Respironics, for 5 billion. The integration took a while, and then in the June 2001, they had to recall 3 to 4 million devices due to health risks because the foam that they used was potentially toxic and carcinogenic. And that's the biomaterial issue I was talking about. Now, apparently there were a lot of complaints already received, and 124 deaths may be linked. Now, even the US Justice Department opened an investigation. This is a complete nightmare. The shares have plunged lowest in a decade. And so this is the kind of case that I would warn for. Another thing that's interesting is, of course, or that's relevant in this respect, is the foreign direct investment. So if companies from abroad or investors would like to invest in the EU region, this regulation could apply, although portfolio companies do not apply. And then this is what I found also in the MENA about the MENA region, and then you see that the budget is going up incredibly. And also what I found was that there is approximately 30% private equity investment in healthcare. And apparently private equity investors have completed more deals in healthcare. So this is in the MENA region, led by acquisitions for pharmaceuticals, but you also see, for instance, and that's what I highlighted, that fertility clinics are interesting, and also oncology services. And of course, in Dubai, there's this healthcare city, free zone, and also a science park, which is also incredibly interesting. And last but not least, and I was actually contacted by them in an early phase, there's an Abu Dhabi Genome program, which is an incredible program in which all the genomic information is being captured and is being captured. And that is, of course, incredible, because that will give such a wealth of information that's incredibly valuable, I think. And you see that there's a lot of ambition too, because apparently Abu Dhabi is also willing to develop gene editing technology and precision medicine. Yeah, recently I launched a network. It's called the Genotype Network, and it's really a global network for regulatory and corporate lawyers with a focus on life sciences transactions to really connect the corporate and regulatory lawyers much better to advance life sciences transactions much more. And hence the building block, because regulatory law should be a building block in transactions. This is so the membership is available for life sciences, regulatory, and corporate lawyers. And the goal is, of course, to advance life sciences transactions together. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, hi, Hanneke. Thanks. That was fascinating. I just wanted to ask, are you in contact with Catherine Sherman in Germany? Because I think she seems to be working in a similar sort of area.
Okay, no, I have not been.
Okay, she's on the IT and technology committee with me, which is how I kind of got to know her. And it may be that she's more looking at pharmaceuticals from a cosmetic point of view rather than from a medicinal point of view. But I just thought it might be useful for you to connect.
Yeah, very, very nice. I will do. Catherine Sherman.
Yeah.
I think it was an excellent presentation, Hanneke. It's just, it goes to show that there are so many developments and changes in this industry going on and improving people's lives. I'm not in the domain myself, but I just wanted to say it is quite interesting what you're doing.
Yeah, and I really like to collaborate also with you all, and if we can indeed collaborate on these topics, that would be fantastic.